Hi, welcome to another episode of Depth, Not Just Headlines. I'm Deborah Anderson. Today we'll be looking at the United States economy and how it has been faring. As a matter of fact, the real question really is the United States of America broke? That's a question that has been floating around a lot in recent times. We have been borrowing money from local and international investors like crazy, including Brazil, a developing country. The US owes Brazil $250 billion. We'll get back to that in a few minutes. The United States government has not collected a surplus in nearly 20 years, or since the year 2001. A surplus occurs when the government collects more money than it spends. The surplus is generally used to reduce the federal debt. So how have we been managing to stay afloat the past 19 years? Where has the money been coming from to pay our debts, or have we been paying them? Federal government revenue equates to about $110,000 of revenue per second, according to the government's data lab. That means by the time I finish this sentence, the government would have earned $1 million. At the end of 2019, they collected $3.5 trillion, but had spent $4.4 trillion. Even worse is the fact that they owe 6 times more than they earned in the amount of $22.7 trillion. Yes, I did not say million or billions, trillion dollars. So, if the United States finances are in such dire straits, can they file for bankruptcy? That process is way more difficult than it sounds. In fact, it would create a domino effect of global magnitude. Most of the federal government's debt is owned by federal trust funds and domestic investors in the United States. Foreign investors, including other governments, also own part of the debt. Outside of local investors and trust funds, the country owes Japan and China $1.1 trillion each. The United Kingdom and Brazil $250 billion each. Therefore, a national insolvency is not a simple matter of the country going to court and filing for bankruptcy. The US has steadily increased the federal debt since 2000. Another way to view the federal debt over time is to look at the ratio of federal debt related to gross domestic product. This ratio has also increased over time. According to the most recent financial report of the United States government, the current fiscal policy is not sustainable. Although the total federal debt of the US has increased every year over the past 10 years, interest expense has remained fairly stable. And this is according to financial analysts as well as the data lab. In fact, they have fallen over the past 10 years. So again, is the United States broke? The quick answer is yes. But fortunately, low rates or low interest rates allow the interest expense the federal government pays on its debt to stay balanced, even as the federal debt has increased. In other words, we are hanging by a thread and can only hope that we do not have another war or other major international crisis soon, because that would destroy the economy. Now, this chart I'm presenting to you here shows the different countries, major countries of the world. They all differ in size, and we're talking about population, not physical size. So even though we're comparing their debt as a percentage of GDP to that of the US, we have to look at several other factors like how the government reports its debt, because, a lot of them do not, aren't clear in terms of presenting their finances, and just also its size. As I've mentioned earlier, here we see that the United States, right, owes $20.2 trillion, and that's when this chart was done. But of course, we know it's way above that right now, right? So its debt as a percentage of GDP is 104%. For Japan, it's 239%. So Japan is more than twice the United States. China is 48%. And actually, China has the lowest debt as a percentage of GDP when compared to all the major countries listed here. France, it's 101%. Germany, 68%. United Kingdom, 92%. And India, 67%. So this should make us feel a little bit better, knowing that, well, even though the United States is somewhat bankrupt, other countries, major countries that are linked to the US, are also faring the same fate or are also in the same situation. That should give us a little hope, or should it? That's a question I'm putting out there to you. Feel free to leave your comments below and your suggestions. And again, thanks for watching. I'm Deborah Anderson.